Y'all got me multitasking in here. Hi, Miss Natasha. That better for you, my dear. Ah, look at my little man. 7. Brian, you have any son?
Oh, my name would be that. 7? Oh,
You're welcome, Miss Natasha.
My mama thinks that my mind is gone, but I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it.
I'm 7.
What?
I'm 7.
Yeah, right, whatever. What are the leftovers, Miss Natasha? You know that all depends on what you eat, girlfriend.
Saying prayers on the street light.
You don't have to come out that chair. It's actually 2 hours. Seriously.
Still have a chair with me.
No, there's other chairs. That one ain't it.
I'm going to go all the way back. There's no other chair with that.
Good morning, Sully. I'm not getting advice today, boys. Don't. Oh, South Africa's in the house. Hey. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, Miss Elise.
Alex?
No. A mama burger. Okay, corn on the top. Okay, I can eat all of that except for the ginger ale, Miss Natasha. I can eat all that except the ginger ale, my friend. I guess I can.
What is it? I'm in the middle of our show. What is it?
So it's a veggie burger. Okay. I told Tia I had bagels and all of that in here. Tia said, I'll eat all of that. I said, eat all you eat today because I didn't stop for no sausage and muffins. Okay, okay. I can still eat that. It's all good. No, I'm good. You probably see the glare off of the. I'm being quiet now, Mr. Keisha. I'll get loud in a minute. Hey, Kathy. That girl ain't done everything down the hall. I didn't know Roger Rabbit. I'm 14 seconds this morning. I actually wanted to speak to some. I called on Tuesday, and someone was supposed to be doing that call back, and no one called me. His name is. Hey, Danella. Okay. Well, probably don't like that in concept.
Don't make a move without contacting
about 2.
They offer
well, actually, no, you got about 3.
and reliable service. 40 state-of-the-art trucks, locally owned and operated. On 24-hour call center. You give them a call. Do it today. 443-506.
Good morning, everybody.
Don't make a move without Focus Movers. 443-506-7905.
I can spell the game. You learn.
Full service moves. Local and long distance.
Okay.
Last second
that they were supposed to be giving me a call back.
They are fully licensed and insured. Call us at 443.
No, I didn't say that I was supposed to.
Or go online at www.focusmovers.com. Don't make the move without calling.
You just all over the place. Hush. Y'all ready to say good morning? Let's say good morning, shall we? Y'all ready? Let's go. Let's go. Come on. 5, hey. 4, let's go, let's go. 3, yay. 2, 1, good morning. 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 Let's go. All right. Come on. Hey. Let's do this. Let's go. Yeah, y'all tuned into Lady Blue. 4. I am about to do something new, something true. I woke up this morning feeling like I want to dance. New day, new blessings. Live, learn lessons, answers questions. No weapons formed against me shall prosper. Been through the fire, I'm a survivor. Satan even tried us, he didn't prosper. So much going on in the world, it won't stop us. Oh, we got faith. All my prayer warriors pray. This is what I gotta say. Lady Blue Radio Show was how you start your day. This is what I gotta say. Lady Blue Radio Show was how you start your day. Good morning. Good afternoon over there in Pretoria. Hey. At least make sure that you also go over and like the youth. Joy comes in the morning. Hey. Good morning. All right. Good morning, everybody. It is me, it's your girl, it's your favorite blogger, Lady Blue, coming at you live right here today, this morning. WMSK Online Radio, home of Cheryl Underwood Radio, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. How y'all doing? All right, we are getting started in here. My guest will be joining us shortly, but we're just going to kick off our morning like we normally do. Right? What do we normally do? Let's go say happy birthday to some of those birthday folks that are out there, because there are plenty. Okay? Yes. Go do your laundry, Miss Thing. We will see you when you come back. You can catch us when you come back. Let's say happy birthday to those celebrating a birthday today. We got our boy, Touche Carol, the big 4-0. Happy birthday, Touche. We got Miss Yuli Twizzard Cenax Mamie. Yes. Happy birthday, dear girl. Darius Bell, Estena Thomas, Brittany Thomas, Josh Black. Happy birthday, Papa Bag. Louise Wallace, yes. Happy birthday to everyone celebrating a birthday today. If I missed your birthday today, it's not because I meant to. Recent birthdays, we had Barry Westwood. Upcoming birthdays, we have my cousin, Corinne Williams. We have Fly Ty Braxton, Tamika Williams. We have Joyce Mercer, Wanda Asante. We have my boy, Mr. Coliseum Media himself, Kate Anderson. We have Nike Burks. We have LaMonica Jones Potts, Michael Austin, Bradley Rodman, Demetrius Sorton Vieira, Cashel Jackson, Michael Johnson, Arlene. Happy birthday to my namesake. Coming up Sunday, we have Jeff Thomas, Amanda Jean, and then we have my boy, y'all favorite Asian, your favorite Asian, Jody Brew, Andy Orr, Alexander James, Janine Williams, Gary Thomas, Mr. Guapo, Dealtra Middleton, Munir Hazam, Beauty Caldwell, Ruben Green, Mr. Dub Science himself, Blanca Zoom, Juan Alame, Jasmine Lee, Raja Taylor, Alan Upshur, Robert Robinson, and Richard Curran Kelly. Those are birthdays that are coming up in the next few days. And to all our birthday babies in July, happy birthday. Enjoy your day. Go out and make the most of it. So, with everything that is going on in this world today, we are going to be talking about hot topics today. That is what we're going to be talking about. And while I'm waiting on the rest of my special guests, I do want to say hello to everybody out there in Facebook land. Make sure you are following us not only on Facebook Live, but also on our YouTube channel, which I put on Facebook Live and on Facebook. And you are following us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. We're all over the place, so you got to make sure that you're out there. And I do really quick want to introduce one of my special guests that are in here, and that is the host of It's Open Up Wide with Meek, right?
Open Wide with Meek.
See, I always put a word in there that don't need to. Open Wide with Meek, and that is this radio show host, Lakeisha Davis. Good morning, Miss Lakeisha.
Good morning, good morning.
I got him up early this morning, y'all. Yes, I do. Oh, and the co-host of Covenant Connection is now in here, and that is my darling husband, Mr. Vic. Good morning, honey. You can say it loudly.
Good morning, honey.
We are just as goofy in here as you please, but I appreciate everybody in here. I appreciate everybody on Facebook Live. We have Pretoria, South Africa in the house. We have got my girl Natasha Gray. She in the house. She's so happy she don't know what to do with herself. We have Damon Ramsey. We have Danella Harvey. We have, I know Touche is up here. We have Kathy Rael. We have, there's a few of them up there. Okay, y'all know who you are. I'll be calling out people for days on here. But anyway, love y'all. Thank you for joining us. And as I stated, we're going to talk about hot button topics today. And we got plenty of them. Okay. And I think the biggest topic right now for us to talk about will be immigration. But really quick, I want to tap into my guests in here really quick and find out if there's a topic that y'all want to discuss outside of the one I just mentioned. Lakeisha, is there anything that you want to discuss as a hot topic with you today?
No, not necessarily.
Okay, then we'll go on, honey. Is there anything you want to discuss as a hot topic with you today?
Maybe the youth and the violence in the city.
Okay, so we got immigration and we got youth and the violence in the city, and then when we have this connoisseur join us, I know that's going to go up a whole nother level, and we're going to have that to talk about. So in the next few minutes, let's just touch real quick on the youth and the violence in the city. I'm going to be honest and tell you I haven't seen what's gone on in Baltimore, but I know the big story right now is concerning that 15-year-old that was killed up in the Bronx. The one that was killed by 8 gang members, I believe it was. And now the police are in heavy discussion with the gang leader, who came out and apologized for the mistaken identity and the actions of his group. And now these 8 young men are incarcerated. These 8 young men are now being moved to protective custody because they're being threatened by other inmates for the killing of this young boy. And it went places that I don't know, I don't think I've ever seen anything go, because the citizens were calling for the shutdown of the bodega. And then they wanted, they're praising the one cashier who apparently told the child to stay down when he came in the store, because these gentlemen came, well, I don't even want to call them gentlemen, but these individuals came in and were looking for him in the store. So let's go. How do we feel about, let's touch on that one, because that's a real big one right now. And then we'll, the other thing we'll touch on is that shooting up in Annapolis as well, with that going on. But Lakeisha, how do you feel about that and what's going on with that?
I think it's very unfortunate. I work in the prison system and I see gang activity all the time. Now I'm outside of the walls, but it's a sad thing, because children come from all walks of life and they come into the prison and they feel like that's the only thing that they can resort to. Mm-hmm. And it just grows. And on the streets, when there's nothing for them to do, when there's no activities, they only have those activities to deal with. And with me having 2 teenage sons of my own, raising children in this day and age is nothing like what it used to be when I was raising my children.
Right, that's true.
So it's just very unfortunate that this thing happened. And I'm not sure what measures are in place to even stop a thing like this. Mm-hmm. Because it seems like it's just getting more and more, it's just becoming a thing to do because of the way that society is happening. Right. So how can we, take a step back and try to figure it out, so I don't know.
Right. Honey, how do you feel about it?
No, I was about to say that she definitely touched on something, especially about the differences and how things were. I know when we were growing up, we had a lot more activities, to keep kids involved. Maybe the recreation department would come out into the neighborhood, especially during the summertime when kids had all the downtime and all that extra time to run around and do things. And I think not only the activities, but I think the parents and the community were a lot more involved in the kids' lives.
Right.
I mean, you could talk to somebody else's kids and they would listen, that kind of thing. Now I think we've lost some civility and lost some respect, and I don't believe the kids respect the adults the way that they should, even just in a position to understand that there's a place for everybody, and children's places are not like adults, and too many kids grow up too fast, so they believe they're in that place of being an adult where they can act as adults and do adult things, but they don't have enough life experiences and have enough foundation, to walk in those shoes.
And I think when they changed the laws with corporal punishment and things like that, a lot of parents just stepped back and took a different approach to parenting. And then when parents are getting younger and younger, they don't know how to parent themselves.
Absolutely.
So, we have a whole community now of welfare recipients, high school dropouts, so they're having babies. And I think that cycle has just
especially in a lot of inner cities, not only New York and Baltimore, but you get DC, you got cities all over this country with lacking educational systems, and that thing with the parenting really, and it is cyclical, it's one of those things again where you have a child trying to raise a child and the child hasn't been given an example, so that thing just continues to go on, and I think it's systematic in this country. The government is surely aware of the educational system, that things are going on in the inner city, but for some reason unwilling to make the changes and give the kids exactly what they need. You can't just talk about budget and not have enough funds, but we send funds all over the world to help people all over the world, but we don't do the things that are necessary to build our kids up.
Our backyard is a mess. Let's just put it that way. We manicured everybody else's backyard, but our backyard is overgrown and it is sore need of some maintenance. But now let me just throw this in, because these are things that people will throw out in what you all are saying. In Baltimore, well, they closed all the rec centers. We don't have anything to do. Bring the rec centers back. I don't see too much of an effort in terms of rec centers being reopened. Okay. You mentioned the education system. We got a Secretary of Education that's busy trying to get rid of everything that we're doing versus building up and strengthening.
That's what I'm talking about. It being systematic again. It starts at the highest level. Where at the highest level, if you're showing interest, you're making an effort. Then it trickles down, to our states and our cities, and provinces all over the country.
Do we blame the workforce? Because, a lot of people will say it starts at home. And lately, some of these jobs, you've got parents that are working 2-3 jobs just don't even get started on mortgages. Mortgages, you buy 2-3 houses where I come from, okay, and be happy. But my thing being is that at work in order to maintain what's going on at home. So are we losing communication with our children because of that?
Absolutely. I think that plays a major part. And it's unfortunate because Maryland is one of the richest states in the United States. So instead of trying to continuously get rich, we need to do things for social programs and things like that. When we talk about property value, is that a real value? In my opinion, probably not. But you know, that's the kind of things that we're faced with. So I had a discussion on my show the other night. The government wants you to be married because then we can shortchange two people rather than having to take care of one individual poor person. So the way that things are set up right now, the government is not prepared to have a whole bunch of single poor people. So, you know, I think, like you said, I think it's an agenda. I think it's mission specific.
And there's a lot of emphasis, you just mentioned it, property. Things you can't take with you. You didn't come in here with it, you can't leave with it. And we've talked about that on Covenant Connection. A lot of people are putting value on how much money I got in the bank. What kind of car am I driving? What kind of house am I living in? You never, and honestly, you never hear them mention about their kids. And I'm gonna go right on up there to number 45. You may see his youngest child in you know, pictures and whatnot, but have you ever seen him interact with his child? Talk to, put his arm around, have a talk, dad talk. I don't even know if he has dad talk. I ain't even gonna go there. But you know, my point being is that the kids don't have anything except what the street is offering, and then they're losing something at home because parents aren't taking the time to, like you know, we had our big discussion yesterday, or doing the thing at dinner where you turn, you know, thank you Comcast for allowing the thing now where you can turn off the internet so everybody can focus and not, you know, be, you know, in on, you know, cell phones, because we've become a society of looking down, literally looking down all the time. So, what kind of suggestion would you want to give to a council member or a state senator to say, look, you come from here and you know Elijah Cummings if he's listening, Ben Cardin if he's listening. What would you tell them to try and bolster what we're talking about right now? I mean, because they know about it. It's not like they don't.
Absolutely. I would encourage them to make it, you know, a priority to you know, build the family. Again, because the breakdown of the family, I think, is a breakdown of the structure or the fabric of America. Not just, you know, us as Black people, but I'm talking about Americans, American people. Once you break down the family unit, then you got everybody struggling. Daddy's trying to do what he has to do. Mama trying to do what he has to do. You know, you got tension because of finances, and knowing that, you know, financial reasons are the breakup of most marriages. You know, those financial issues. You know, and daddy being in a home is important for raising a boy. Mama's important for being a girl. So to keep the family unit together, because God created the family unit for a purpose, so we can procreate, we can grow, and, you know, live in harmony to do the things that we have to do. And it's so difficult to do without the resources. You talk about property value and things like that, but it makes it so hard when you just have to live. And we are selfish people. I mean, when we think about our, you know, we have a selfish nature to think about, okay, well, what do I have to do to get by? We have that survival thing, you know, fight or flight. You know, we're gonna do what we have to do to kind of survive. And the family gets lost in that, you know, in the midst of that, again, because everybody's trying to get their own.
Yeah. And my one recommendation will be, because 3 years ago I started an organization called Pat Davis Baltimore, and what we were trying to do is prevent teenage pregnancies, and we also wanted to look at intergenerational parenting. That means co-parenting even when you're not in a relationship. So I wrote this comprehensive program. I spent $10,000 plus in getting equipment and things like that, and just trying to pull it together. So we did have an opportunity to put our program into a rec center down in Baltimore City. However, when parents weren't invested in this program, we couldn't even get the city to be invested.
Right.
There was no one who was trying to help us. And I was using my own resources to get the equipment that we needed. Right. But we needed to have incentives. We needed to have different things so that we can keep these children interested. So if I had any recommendations, these, senators, councilwomen and councilmen, invest in some of these local programs that come along and try to do their best to make a difference in the lives of these children. So, that would be my biggest recommendation. We have like programs like the No Leader Project. That's a guy that I know, Wesley Hawkins. I helped him, start to get his thing off the ground now. He's much bigger than I am, but, just invest in these programs. We wanted to take our programs into the schools because that's where we could have the most impact,
Right.
because we had them all there.
Right, you got
They
captive
have to be
audience.
in school,
Exactly,
right?
you got captive audience.
So we were trying to capture them while they were at school, but the schools didn't have any money to pay us to come in. We even volunteered to pilot the program. But again, we can't be sustained off of just, hope that we'll do great or, accolades.
Right.
Yeah.
So, just put money and invest in these programs, these social programs that aren't otherwise being offered.
Okay, and I want to bring up our friend, Mr. Christensen, is on. He got a nice little comment here, but before I do that, you mentioned a very good point, Lakeisha, is that I think a lot of parents, when they see a new program, they see, oh, another way to take care of my kid where I don't have to worry about it.
Mhm.
And they're not seeing that it's just like PTA. If you're not involved in your child's life and knowing what's going on, what's the purpose of the program for them to be involved in if you're not involved as well? Schools and aftercare programs and programs like that are seen as another form of babysitting where I don't have to, I can go do what I want to do while they're there for this amount of time, and then I become a parent after 6 o'clock. And we got to get out of that mindset, I think, as well, is just handing our kids off to somebody else and then expecting somebody else to pay for it. I think that's another role that most parents need to grab back. But Mr. Christensen really quick says, in the inner city, first of all, good morning. In the inner city, ghettos that are victim to what you are talking about is controlled by the same government party that those communities support and have been supporting for decades. These cities are engineered by that government in these inner cities as to secure their very own position as the government. As the people settle for the least that life gives them in the form of public assistance, those of the government are living large on the federal money that funds the system. They do not want the issues resolved or corrected, as the issues and poverty are engineered to keep the people in this situation as to secure government in these areas in their position. The worse these inner cities get for more federal money flows into these cities, but that money does not go to help the community. It goes to help the political leaders and line their pockets who are managing these areas, and correcting the issues would defeat them and their goal of extorting federal funds.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree.
We love you, Mr. Christensen. You just come on right on in with what
Summed it right up.
yeah, with what you got to say. And I always like to bring this point up because, and when people hear ghetto, the first thing they see is black. Okay, I want to reiterate to you all that ghettos were formed in the Jewish community first. Okay, so you got to go back in history. You got to look. Ghettos were formed to house the Jews that were being after all the mess happened with Nazis and all of this other stuff. So ghettos weren't just black folks.
Ghettos are where poor people are.
Thank you.
And there are poor people everywhere, all over the world.
Thank you.
Every country, every nationality, any place you go.
We don't own it.
India, China, you go anywhere in the world, you'll find what's considered ghettos.
I just want to make sure that people understand that it is not a black thing. Okay, it is not a black thing. Ghettos are not a black thing.
Yeah.
Poor is poor, and it doesn't matter. Like my husband said, it's not a matter of race, nationality, creed, sexual preference. All that is not that. We don't know.
Right. I mean, absolutely. And the things that come out of these areas are the same everywhere. When you congregate a bunch of people who don't have a whole lot of anything, you're gonna get violence. You're gonna get the domestic violence. You're gonna get violence from people trying to climb over each other to get what they can get. Trying to succeed. And again, we talking about as a people, again, we can go to the spiritual thing. And I know when I was younger, we as a community felt more for each other. And when you look at the history of African Americans in this country, we had a greater sense of community, even when we didn't have anything. And so it wasn't always about those resources, but it was great to have those resources available, but we had a care for each other. You know, we had a love for, you know, our own people. And, you know, somewhere we went wrong. And it's not to blame the people who are in those situations, but again, those government institutions that haven't done what they know to do to correct these things or to help people in those situations. Even when you're talking about during the Great Depression, they did a lot of things to help poor people because that touched everybody. It wasn't a black or white thing. It was a thing where the economy had just crashed, you know, so whatever it took to build up our nation, you know, and I heard it said, I don't remember who it said, but the strength of a nation, you can look at its poorest people, and the greatness of a nation will be examined by its poorest people. And so if your poorest people are doing halfway okay, you got a great nation because you got somebody closer to your middle class and upper class. But if you just got these great classes, you have this great, you know, divide between the rich and the poor, you're going to have people struggling and killing themselves to get where they can get.
That's true. That's true. Well, we're going to cut over to commercial break, pay the piper, and then we're going to come back and we're going to move on to the next hot topic because we could be on this one all day long, especially when it comes to the kids. So y'all keep it locked. We will be right back. This is Lady Blue, the Lady Blue Radio Show live right here at WMSKOnlineradio.com, where talk radio just got better. Don't forget, this is home of Cheryl Underwood Radio. We got the Thursday Throwback Chair Band.
You know, I think our parents use the recreation department as, you know, babysitter, that kind of thing. Not that that was their intent or their design, okay, but they knew that there were other things for us to do, other places, and they felt secure because they knew some of the people who were involved and knew that those people were doing things to help them and help us to, you know, keep our kids involved and out of trouble.
So I don't necessarily disagree with having somewhere to go because I send my children to the PAL Center because they need to socialize, they need to have a lot of these things happening going on with them. You know, and I could use a break sometimes, you know, but I'm really at work while they're there. But, you know, the issue that we ran into was that we had kids who we wanted to make sure was going back to school because, you know, they're from our program, but they're not going to school.
Right.
No, we need you to be in school. So we were acting as a parent and going and taking these kids back to school. That was unacceptable. You know, so when we, you know, tried to find out what was going on because we wanted to do things like make sure children had their nails done for prom. Not that we could put on a whole prom, but just a little bit. We couldn't even get parents to be engaged with that. So it's just like, you know, we were lost. But as far as the income and things like that, we want to move over here because I want to shrink my eyes. So as far as income, the middle class, I mean, even we're struggling.
Yeah.
Middle class or whatever that's supposed to be.
I mean, and there are disconnects with parents who in the middle class as well as the upper class as well too.
Right.
You know, it's still that involvement with kids, but it's especially needed in those communities where you really don't have anything. Again, because that's your first area of structure is in your household. That's your first area of learning and your first authority figures and first of what everything you're going to learn to need to walk out into the world. So absolutely, you know, but it's still just like you talk about, you know, having so many children raising children. They don't, like you said, they barely had a childhood before they walk into adulthood. So to know how to involve in their own children's life, you know, some just don't know how to do it. They don't know how necessary it is. No, really. I mean, because you generally get that if you got a somewhat healthy family structure. You're going to learn that from your parents that are involved in your life. If you haven't had that as an example in your life, then how do you know how to do it? Other people are telling you, you need to do this, you need to do that. A lot of people rebel when you hear them telling you what you need to do as a parent, kind of thing.
And not only that, just like we're looking to other people to tell us good examples. We have so many things telling us to be bad examples, the music, the TV, and things like that.
Yeah.
So if girls think it's okay to show your body, to, you know, have sex for money or whatever, then what do we have? So if I did teach them any morals, music and TV, teach them something else.
Absolutely. And we're so distracted by the things of the world. And again, but our show being a Christian show, we can go back to those biblical things, those things we did. I know as a people growing up, African Americans clung to their religion. Mm-hmm. They clung to their God. So you had a moral fiber built into you. Even if you didn't have the totally functioning family situation, so still you had something planted in you that could grow once you started to grow, something you can cling to, something that give you, a moral guideline.
Yeah, we touched on that a little bit. We touched on that a little bit, and I think that a lot of times in today's day and age, people are going further and further away from those institutions of churches and things like that. Because I don't particularly have anything that I study in organized religion. I don't. But things that I see and things that I hear, these pastors out here, just doing anything. They, to me, are people first. So a lot of people invest everything that they believe and know in the man, and don't take the time to study for themselves. So we're depending on the pastors to get us through. That's how I'm getting through this man.
Yeah.
And then when this man does something like have children out of wedlock and things like that, then you're like, But I mean, look at the person first. They're humans before anything.
I was just talking with the guy that I work with about that the other day. He's had some men in his family that have become pastors. He talked about how crooked and corrupt they were, and so that turned them off to going to church and religion. I said, it's not about that person. Again, first of all, really, like you said, they are a person first. But if you go into church, you're going for your relationship with God, connecting your relationship with God. You can't just depend on what's told by the pastor on Sunday about what the Bible says. You have to get into it for yourself and let God speak to you through that Bible for yourself. So it's about developing your own relationship with God. It's not about focusing on Susie May, who's over here doing her holy dance, or who's doing this over here, or what the pastor's doing on his time off or whatever. We call, biblically to pray for these people because we all flourish. So if you look at your pastor and make your pastor your God, then we are thoroughly messed up.
Yeah, and I'm in a PhD program for leadership, and one of my classmates, her whole research is around the church. She's looking at something else in reference to women leaders, but in some of the discussions that we had, we talked about charismatic leaders, and people get so drawn into that leadership style, and so everything else, forget everything else that we talked about. I'm paying attention to this charismatic person who's here in front of me. And that's where a lot of people get lost. We've lost so much of ourselves and who we are that it's easy to cling to somebody else that has show that glimmer, that shine that we want to have, we really want to be deep down in our soul. We're drawn to that. And, much as I love my pastors and the pastors and the men, that I've been under, in different churches, I don't make them holier than thou. I appreciate what it is that they do. I respect it. I support it. I pray for them. But it's about my relationship. It's about my growth. And studies have shown the effects, the positive effects of a belief system, not necessarily, talk about a particular religion, but a belief system is something, a higher power. And how that's, the statistics show, how many
alcoholics and drug addicts, succeed in their programs by knowing, a power that's greater than themselves that they can cling on to, not a person. AA is a great group, but built into the fiber of AA is some biblical things, about higher power. Yes, it's like a bingo.
Blueberry or green?
Blueberry.
Well, the bag that you didn't get a plain one out of.
No, I'll get it. You got, yes, take a little bit of fruit in a cup. I appreciate that.
Smell it. You want cream cheese?
Yes, please.
Your plate over.
And I'm sorry for being late. My wife made me do my chores at home before I could come out the house and make sure that I had to take a bath.
There you go, Miss Natasha.
No. Stay downstairs and drink some water.
Oh,
Smiling.
great image.
How much is it? Huh? We ordered your menu?
Yes. Good morning, Miss Vanessa. Just a comment. Come on.
Yeah, he's deep.
That's a very good community on those who try to raise issues in an effort to correct the problems the very government themselves are creating. Well, amen to that one.
That's what about the charismatic leaders that we generally have that risen up, been killed or marginalized or they tried to destroy.
Good morning, Miss Vanessa. See, when they force to incite these riot issues, the media focuses only on the criminal element of the issues, the looters, the rioters, the people causing upset. They never focus on the family there who are dying and who is hiding and hoping not to get shot through the window. They are not focused on the kids in this area who are trying to go to school. And that's why they only give you two seconds of positive at the end of a newscast that's full of violence. They hope to change your mood, after you've just seen all. That's what happens. Don't watch news no more. We have become a society and we're not surprised anymore. We just scratching our heads trying to figure out when. When is it gonna end? Good morning, Miss Vanessa. How are you? Okay. They're not focused on the kids in these areas who are trying to go to school and learn and do the right things. These people are not mentioned on the news in the state of emergency situations. They are not even considered. The media pitches the criminal element out of the nation on the news so that people won't have any sympathy for these areas and to make it appear as if it is the people in these areas who are the fault of their own situation. And as one takes the blame off the government, the second makes it appear as though these people cause their own issues. When the truth is that the government in control of these areas is engineering these issues as secure their place there and to get federal money to fix the very issues the government are creating in these areas. That government loves the undereducated people who are dependent on social welfare and those who have no position to raise the issues with the government. If they do, well, their public assistance is threatened by the government. Mm-hmm.
Once you criminalize the people, you get a nation, you get a world of people who look down on.
Well, if you look at what we're doing here in the United States, and you look at what's being done in other areas. I talked last week about how much food we waste here in the United States alone. And you have other countries that don't do that. In France, they get fined if they throw out perfectly good produce or groceries that can be given to a homeless shelter or given to any number of organizations that can take this food, fix this food, and feed them. Here, they ain't worried about feeding folks.
Because you become a capitalist society looking to capitalize on everything, and then you're looking at, because we have a nation of lawyers as well, we look at liability as opposed to worrying about how can we I mean, if you watch the Food Channel, where they've actually built a food program from food that come out of dumpsters. I mean, so if you can take food straight out of a dumpster and feed people and be perfectly healthy, why can't
and the grocery stores here do the same thing because half of the stuff they throw out is not. They throw out a whole entire thing for one rotten. Take that rotten out and eat it. You want to cut meals for wheels, but we got plenty of things that we can do with the food that's out there. I'll cook. I don't care. It don't matter.
People are hungry. I think would sign a waiver to eat this first, just to be able to have something to eat, because otherwise you will be eating. A lot of people eating out of trash cans with hands to them. Anyway,
that's true.
This is Chandra Scott and Crazy Williams, and you are listening to the Radio Show live on WMSK onlineradio.com. Talk radio just got better.
All right, y'all, we are back. It is Lady Blue live right here, WMSK onlineradio.com, where talk radio just got better, and the home of Cheryl Underwood Radio. Listen, there are a lot of things going on, not only with Lady Blue, WMSK, everybody. Okay. If y'all voted this past June, I haven't even seen the results of what came out of that. And there are a lot of people at that time who just said they weren't going to vote, period. It was their right. You're right. It is your right. But don't complain when it ain't happening and you disappoint your family. Anyway, moving on. I want to make sure that y'all know the second issue of State versus Us magazine is available. Is hot. Y'all need to go get your copy. My Son, the New York General, is on the front. There are some serious stories in there. We got a story on former Black Panther. We got a story from Akeem Browder, Khalif Browder's brother. Robin Hood. There's a couple others in there. There's Eye Candy. There's a whole lot going on in there. So y'all need to go pick up your issue of State versus Us magazine. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook. If you have a story to tell, if you want ad space, if you have any questions, you can hit stateversususmag@gmail.com. That's stateversususmag@gmail.com. This issue's hot. I don't know about y'all, but I mean, people are already buzzing about it. And I can't wait. The other thing I want to make sure to mention is that Lady Blue does have a fundraiser that is going on in conjunction with the Way Foundation. And that is raising money for awareness and community support. Y'all need to go and check that out. This fundraiser basically is helping out the True Help and Empowerment for Women and Aspiring Youth Foundation out of Houston, Texas, which is my partner 501c3 for the 50 Shades of Blue Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. And it's our quest to raise awareness not only for women, but also for the youth, which is also the focus of this year's conference, which is youth, teen dating violence, teen domestic violence. We're speaking on men and abuse, LGBTQ community, as well as the church community, and of course, Women and Domestic Violence, IPV, whatever it is you wish to call it. Violence is violence, I don't care what name you put to it, but we're going to be talking about it. So y'all need to check out the fundraiser, help us to reach our goal, and also make sure you mark your calendars for October 20th, 2018, from noon to 6 p.m. at the Furley Recreational Center's 4th annual 50 Shades of Blue Domestic Violence Awareness Conference. And I'm excited because we have great speakers, and you just added, I call him a celebrity. He giggles every time I talk to him now because I'm like, you my celebrity. But anyway, we just added Corey George. Corey George is a life coach, anger management specialist, and also a thriver from childhood abuse, who is an expert on domestic violence abuse. And for those of you who think you may know who Corey George is, he was on season 7 of Fix My Life with Iyanla Vanzant. So I am excited to have him as a part of 50 Shades of Blue, and we're just gonna see what all comes about. It is a ticketed event. You can get your tickets on Eventbrite, so go on over and check that out. Check out the event on Facebook and follow us. And if you have any questions, you can hit us up at 50shadesofbluebaltimore@gmail.com. So moving back on into our topic, because it seems to still be going on. Mr. Christensen is still talking about it. We've talked about some of these things off the air, and I think his biggest thing is that the focus is not going where the focus needs to be. The media is honing in on the violence as opposed to the good that's happening. So, the violence is feeding the media monster, so to speak. And my question last week was, you have outlets, you have ABC News, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, NBC. You've got C-SPAN, you've got all of these. And then you have Fox News. Fox News, who seems to think that they are not part of the media for some strange reason, and they are a media source. So I just want to ask y'all one quick question, and we're moving on. Why do you think Fox Media thinks that they're not part of this media, quote unquote, fake news reel that happens to be going on?
To me, again, I think it's an agenda. And if I feel like I don't have to go by any of the regulations or rules, I can just act outside of that. And that's basically what they're doing. Okay. So to excuse themselves from having to deal with any regulations or whatever, they, just consider themselves something else.
I personally think they lied.
Right. I mean, and it's kind of like our president. I think that's why our president is drawn to that. They figure they're outside of the establishment, the established media.
And they struck his ego.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing. They stroked that.
But they right, exactly, because they are in line, with the agenda, the same agenda that they use with, and that's that underlying racism and classism that fuels a lot of people in this country right now.
And I mean, we're a year later, and you're starting to see a lot of other news entities coming around that are like, I can't believe I've been supporting this for the last year or 2 years, whatever the case may be. And number 45 even tried to call out talk show hosts, Jimmy Fallon, Steve Colbert. I can't think of all the other ones, but he's trying to call them out now, saying that they don't have a spine because they're not giving him the accolades that he wants. It's not losing their ratings. They're gonna say what they're gonna say and keep their show. I mean, if they regret him being on, they regret him being on. Why? We go into all day long why number 45 is the way he is, but my thing is, if we don't use our platform in the way that we're supposed to use our platform, what is the purpose of having it in the first place?
Absolutely. I mean, but you have to have a social conscience. You have to have a moral guideline, to have that effect and to really have that spine that you're talking about, because you're going to have to do some things that are unpopular but true.
That man just hurts my soul. My husband has to pull me away from the news, the TV every now and then, because blood pressure goes like, no. And I mean, I follow Chris Cuomo and Don Lemon and and what's the other, Anderson Cooper, you know, I think they have valid comments and valid things to say. Trevor Noah is another one that has something, you know, he doesn't funny, but he has something valid to say. When's the last time you watched the news?
I don't watch the news.
That explains it all right there, y'all. It's hard to turn on the TV, and I mean, thinking, especially my job, you know, 8 to 5 or 6 to 5, that TV is on the news channel. And what's the channel that come off? Fox News. I'm like, out of all the news channels, why y'all pick that one? Why that? If it's not on there, it's on WJZ 13. I'm like, look, people, WJZ is not the all of news in Baltimore. Okay.
And I've watched the news. I don't watch it the way I used to. And I was just talking about that with Daniel. I was in the house yesterday. And just, you know, we have such an oversaturation of news now, and there's just so much negativity. Negativity is just easy to report. People drawn to negative stories and horror and hate and all that kind of thing. And those feel-good stories are boring to a lot of people. So they feed off of that negativity. And I know growing up in the DC area, you know, Alexandria, Virginia, my father used to make me read the newspaper. He watched the news and read the newspaper, but he kind of taught me how to read between the lines, even with some of those stories, because, you know, you had the two major newspapers that were in the area were the Washington Post and the Washington Times, and you can read stories, the same story in both magazines, and see a different spin to both. But now we have such an oversaturation of news and people stuff coming in your way that a lot of people are really turned off by the news, and the only thing they get and hear are those negative stories. You know, you get so few positive stories that negative is.
But you bring up a good point, because even like when I go to Yahoo at the top half, you'll see everything. You'll read it one way, but if you don't scroll all the way to the bottom, that story will turn around and be something completely different towards the bottom of the page. So you're right. You have to go. If you don't read the whole thing, you're getting conned. It's just like it tells the Bible. You got to read the whole context, because if you don't read the whole context and just the text, you are getting conned. Okay, and you're not getting the full story. So I do agree. Really quick, because they're throwing things up here. Natasha Gray wants to let you all know that there's free produce at the Dovecote Cafe today at 4 p.m. and that's 2501 Madison Avenue. Line up early, bring bags, and donations are accepted. We were just talking about food a second ago. And she also mentions that there are some great food sharing and salvaging organizations out there, such as Gather Baltimore, Baltimore Free Farm, and many community gardens that help give free, reasonable cost produce and other food items as available. She says, food waste sucks, and I love Francis Fines for waste. So thank you, Ms. Natasha. I do appreciate that. And you know, you're right. We shouldn't be wasting food. But let's move on to another topic. I'm going to Tia come up in here really quick, because this is a topic for her. I want to talk about this ridiculous immigration mess that's going on right now. And I think we as African Americans have something to say about it. Okay, all things considered. And I made a point last week? Last week. I looked straight at my husband and I said, okay, if we're all here illegally, or if we're crossing the border illegally and we're not supposed to be here, then, you know, all of us need to pack a bag, get the heck out. Point blank. Because nobody is a true. The only people that belong here would be Native Americans. That's it. I mean, you know, most of us were born here. We were raised here. You have veterans that have served 2 or 3 rotations, military service, wartime situations. They're being deported back to countries they don't even know. You know, they're suffering from PTSD. They're not getting the help they need over there, so they're committing suicide. You have children. This separation of parents from children right now is like, wow. I don't even know where that's going. And I just really think that the look in the mirror needs to be taken, because it starts from the top down. Number 45 is not purebred American. His parents are of German descent. His wife is from, and she just recently got her green card. Thank you very much. Her parents just recently got their green card. Thank you very much. But this man, and I'm just calling a spade a spade. This man wants to put out everybody that he feels doesn't belong here. And I look at it this way: go ahead, put them out. You're gonna be the one in the kitchen at your own country club, at your own golf course. I mean, think about it. Think about it. You want to put out everybody, and crops are rotting. Things are going on right now that people aren't hearing about. Vegetables aren't being picked, things like that. But y'all gonna have something to say when that price hike up. What? How many of y'all gonna go out there and bench back and go pick some potatoes and some lettuce and some? I know what that's like. Okay, my grandparents had a garden. That's backbreaking work. Okay, and we are a spoiled country, so I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna give you all a few minutes. Victor, you go, or Lakeisha, you go. You got 2 minutes. You got 2 minutes. We're gonna cut the commercial break, and we're gonna right back into this whole thing. So go.
And this country was built on the back of immigrants and slaves. So all of us are immigrants from somewhere else. African Americans being born here, but there are some that immigrated from Africa as well too. But originally we were brought here. So you have, like I said, immigrants from everywhere. That's what built this country. That's the melting pot that's made America great. And I think now what we're doing is selectively picking and choosing when and how and who can come across those borders, and it's a easy hot button political move, by the establishment now to want to build that wall and stop the border and stop people from
because
coming.
even Mr. Christian said illegal immigrant being in office for 18 months have anything to do with the fact that this is a hot button issue right now. They are trying to throw people out right now. So what are we doing about it right now versus we know it's been an ongoing thing, but like you just said, this country is built on those who came from elsewhere and built up what we see as America right now.
My only concern would be this is the start of his movement.
Mm-hmm.
What's to come next? Me.
In case y'all want to know, Miss Connoisseur's in the house right now. But go ahead, Lakeisha.
No, that's all I had to say. What's to come next? Who is he going to move on next? Mm-hmm. Where is he going?
Right.
Where is this going?
Right.
And again, this is a bigger agenda. Maybe we can't see everything.
It is.
Where is he going to go next?
Absolutely, there is a big agenda, and I remember watching a debate from, I think it might have been the early '80s. We had Ronald Reagan and I forget who it was he was running against, but they were talking about the immigration issue again. So the issue is not new. How it's being done now, and again, it's so forceful, and they're using the media to push the agenda, which, like you said, is probably a even larger, a larger agenda of what's to come, behind that thing. Again, and I guess for a lot of people, and especially, I imagine Caucasian Americans look at they're losing jobs to people, so they want back what they had.
Yeah, but if they're losing jobs, are any of them getting up and going to take these jobs they claiming they're losing? No,
but again, that's again, you talk about a thought of mentality, not the actual reality of what those jobs are. It's a thing that's being pushed. If you constantly being told that you losing jobs to African Americans, you losing jobs to Mexicans, you losing jobs to whatever, then that becomes the issue. We losing jobs to these people of color, these other people or whatever. We want to get back what we had. Now, you got a larger, poor portion of America, and we've always had of white Americans in this country. I remember back in the '80s where they had the thing called the angry white man syndrome, and that's that thing that you're hearing, that underlying, ripples that's been going for a while now, that's built up to this Donald Trump 45 thing that my wife calls it. She don't even use his name.
I don't,
But that's been an underlying grumbling, from a group of of people that now are they've got power in a position and they feel emboldened to, do and say what they want to, other people, put it mildly.
That's very mild. Because you're right. But I want to give a shout out over here to Miss Connoisseur. She finally joined us in here. Good morning, Miss Ma'am. How you doing?
I'm good.
Are you good? Okay. Well, right now we talked about the youth and violence earlier, so we'll get your take on that right now. You can see we talked about the immigration issue because it's hot, and the other issue we're going to talk about is, of course, the good old prison system, good old incarceration. What the heck is that all about? But we still got a few more minutes. Miss T, did you want to put anything in on this immigration issue real quick before we go to commercial break?
We can do that when we come back.
All right, okay.
I would say something real quick. I'm sorry for that.
I'm sick of it.
What I find is saddening, and again, is the separation of family, the kids, and that's the most difficult thing. Again, we talked about when you devalue people, it makes it easy for you to do the things you do to them and make it okay, and it's not okay to separate children from their parents. Now, you're gonna deport them, you're gonna send them back, but don't separate a child from their parent. You imagine the scars that these children will have.
Have you seen some of the reactions of the children that have been reunited with their parents?
Absolutely. But
it's not what you would think after not seeing your mom or your dad for a long time. We didn't see our mom and our dad for a long time. We were like, yeah, mom. These poor kids are just like, they're scared that this is not going to last, that, someone's going to come back and take mom or dad again. So, I mean, these parents are holding these kids in like headlocks, like, let's get out of here, kind of thing.
I mean, to go back into our history, realizing that, that's what was done to African Americans. That's what was done to Africans in slavery.
And hold that thought, because we're going to go pay the piper. We're going to come back and we're going to jump right back on this issue. This is Lady Blue, the Lady Blue Radio Show, live right here, WMSK Online Radio, home of Cheryl Underwood Radio, where talk radio just got better. Morning, honey.
Hi. And with the bacon, eggs, and scrapping.
Look, I told you that wasn't coming up in here.
I heard that too at 8:45 this morning. I said, do you even think about your fave? Yo, the older you get, the less I become your fave. This ain't safe. This ain't safe. It's cool. Whoever she is, let her know I'm pulling up.
So where's your fanboy and your makeup artist and all of that?
When this is on, when you're on air, you can hear.
I just had it on because it was hot up in
and she's supposed to, she said she turned the air on here. Text.
I'm listening.
Like, this miss. It's not on this.
Let's focus, but it's on like
Mr.
7
Christensen
8 trying to save money.
Mr. Christensen says,
I told her before,
your
black
view of
people can't do
separation
that.
is not considering the underlying issues of
78.
I stated
It's on. You look at it.
which is a fact of an issue that is ongoing. Okay. Mr. Christensen says,
It needs to go down to like 71.
he says, your view of separation is not considering the underlying issues of what I stated in the last comment, of which is a fact of an issue that is ongoing, immigration being ongoing, and that the view of separation is not considering any underlying issues. We're gonna get on that, don't worry. We're gonna get on that. This is all about differences of opinion, but we all still love each other in this room. Thank you very much.
Here's your compulsive magazine, man. Look, when you said it, I had to go straight to the box and get it. You already know the way this is set up. I want to walk right on out the door. Tell you something. Man, sure. What's up, Big Vic?
I'm not gonna start our conversation.
Oh my God. I go all the way over here with that same conversation, y'all. I'm over it. I'm done. I don't want him or his fucking trolls. I'm over it. Get away. Everybody just go.
Look, y'all, there's my article that I did. There's my article that I did.
I'm done. I'm tired of playing. I'm leaving straight from here. I gotta go to the post office. I gotta get a haircut. I go to Glen Burnie, change my son's phone.
Oh my gosh.
Check my phone. Had issues. I can't be going. I can't handle issues. I need my phone. Man, let me tell you something. If I got issues with the cell phone, yo, everybody knows. And while my Google voice just picked up, I need my phone, yo.
What's off the situation with the phone? I mean, with the call-in?
There's some video. Yo, why you didn't restart the computer?
No, I'm not doing any call-ins today. I'm just asking.
Yeah, you gotta restart the computer.
So what would that do to YouTube?
Just bring it back up.
You know, I'm just cool. 6:36.
Every time that happens, just restart it. Every time that happens, just restart it. Matter of fact, you restart it every day, every Monday when you come in, because it happens every day, every Monday with you. So I guess when it's idle for a week, it goes, it stops. Now I don't never log into that computer, so the day before I leave, I'm gonna get the login, and I can do it myself on Sunday. I'll log in it. Bell Summer Camp. Let me take a picture of that.
Have your son has gone to that camp?
It was a one-day camp. We went out there. Penn State treated us well. Penn State did their thing. I'm in love with Penn State. Coach Franklin, he was there. NFL Mike Tomlin was there. I tried to show him my steel tape, but I didn't know what side it was on. What is gorgeous ass? Take me down. Take me down. Take me down. Take me down. Of course, I had that angle on cool, but take me down, Thomas. Take me down. I'm here, baby. I'm here. Before you tie down for 4 hours, take me down. Ryan Clark was there. There was a lot of NFL players. The Dolphins, the Titans, the Jaguars. Because that particular camp was for the elite. The kids that want to go on to the next level.
Right.
So he got that elite workout before it would be his first time in his group of positions. He was the youngest and smallest.
Wow.
And my son 5'9", almost 5'10", 220, 15. And this other grown boy bigger than him, like he was like little to them. I was like, jeez.
How did he feel about how everything went?
He gotta be.
Good. Okay.
He gotta be.
Outstanding.
He said, so I got 2 more years.
Oh, Lord. You don't give no short comment. Look.
Who was that?
Mr. Christensen. He's
Hi, Mr. Christensen.
He's like that devil's advocate. And every time I come on, I already hoping nobody else will comment right now. But he starts it off by saying Democratic government has been hijacking Black America.
WMSKonlineradio.com. Let's go. State versus Us magazine. Newsstands right now. Get with it.
Religion, political affiliation, or personal practice.
My live up was lit. Go to YouTube, subscribe. WMSK Space Online Radio. Get to know what's going on
right now.
What up, Hakeem?
Drop that doggone link. So
What up, Joy? What up, I? Bad hair day, people. It's cool and still fly. Hell, you already know what it is. It's cool. Huh? Appreciate it. What I did?
Proud of you. I'll be for 12.
Listen.
Maybe this is 3.
This is hurting my soul. Trust me. My soul.
And ain't no sausage and bacon in here, so you know she's mad at me.
My soul is touched.
I'm so proud of you.
My soul. Help my soul. Help it.
All right.
Your honey bun let you out the house?
Ooh. I have no honey bun.
Sugar foot.
I got holes.
Go.
ladies we drop.
Is she crazy? Okay, anyway, we back, y'all. This is Lady Blue Live, WMSKOnlineRadio.com, where talk radio just got better. And this is the home of Cheryl Underwood Radio, Monday through Friday, 6 to 9 a.m. Okay, anyway, we are back in here with some of the hosts and the CEO of WMSK Online Radio. We have Ms. Lakeisha Davis, we have my honey, Victor Major, and we have Ms. Connoisseur herself, CEO, owner, WMSK Online Radio, joining us in this last part of the show, and it's about to be hot up in here.
Man, you the boss. What's poppin'?
It's about to be hot up in here. Now, going back to the issue that we were talking about, and I'm going to start off with this comment by Mr. Christensen really quick, but I'm also going to read Ms. Natasha's comment where she says she tries not to think badly about anyone, but she sees number 45 as Hitler. I mean, this is ironic, radical, hypocritical dude that is so similar to Hitler in ways of delusion.
Wow.
As I found out, let's see what she says. As I found out, Lord, y'all with these long comments. Okay. Hitler, as I found out, was a Jew who killed Jews. Not saying Trump is a white man who wants to kill white men, but he is a man who's continually killing his own stances. He'll say anything and everybody behind him, then shut it down and do a bunch of Twitter feeds and distractionary tactics to get your mind off the fact that he just completely railroaded the concerned public, disregarding the promises and not stepping up to the plate to make things right. I have a creepy suspicion that the children that are getting separated from their families are being used for nefarious purposes. I wonder if they are being chipped or installed with recording devices. Maybe my conspiracy theories have run amok, but these thoughts I cannot shake. Okay, that's from Ms. Natasha. Love you, Ms. Natasha. Okay, now Mr. Christensen says, the Democratic government has been hijacking Black Americans and all poor Americans for decades to support their party. They pull them in by giving them public assistance, rent assistance, etc. This is to gain their favor and support, and the end result is they end up trapped in the ghettos controlled by this government party across our nation. And even in now times with the focus on illegal immigration. This is the big switch as Black Americans are waking up to the fact that the Democratic Party is simply just using them to secure their political position. And now with that awakening, the Democratic Party has dropped Black American communities and now focus on the immigrants in the big switch of supporting votes. They are now offering the illegals the same pitch they gave Black Americans and the poor of our nation. Being most now are waking up to the truth. The Democratic Party needs to secure a new community to secure their votes, and the new group is the illegal immigrants.
They need to secure the bag. That's what they need to do.
Speak, Miss Tia.
They need to secure the bag.
Okay.
This election right here is so damn important that if you know what, I'm just going to say people were hard. If they just get off their tail and go vote. At this point, it's not even about a political affiliation.
Right.
It's about heart and with some damn sense.
Yeah.
And I think that whoever said that chip,
Natasha.
all that, she wanted something. Because that's what they're doing.
Yeah. They're really
They chipping you. They chipping you up. That's why I don't get them flu shots. You will not
Thank you at all.
put me. Ever since I stopped taking them flu shots, like 5 years ago, I used to get the flu on time every year, September. Get it again in November. I had not had the flu since I stopped taking them flu shots 5 years ago. I take my grandmother to her doctor's appointments. No. You're not getting them flu. You're not. Well, T, what I say, girl? You're not getting them flu shots. That's not what we doing. I know you 80. You be fine.
God has kept you this long.
You will be okay.
Yeah.
So for the past 2 years, Granny has not gotten a flu shot. And I don't care about her attitude. Daughter, you're not getting the flu shots because they are putting this stuff in you. All I'm telling you, they trying to give the kids?
HPV, the little shots. It's like a series.
It's the series, it's 3.
Yeah.
And it's
HPV shots.
So no, it's something else. Hepatitis, no.
It's HPV.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So mind
HPV,
you,
her age.
2 years ago, one thing I've never done is miss a doctor's appointment for my son. Even when I was locked up, he went to his doctor's appointment from the jail. Make sure this is where he at on time. Dentist, eye appointment, we didn't play them games. He never missed a shot. So we get to this new doctor. I'm calling him out because I can't stand him. Bel Air Edison, the Baltimore medical system, they trash. So we get down there, all of a sudden, my son ain't had no shots, and he missing shots. Let me holler at y'all real quick. And he won't get them today. Because what you're not about to do is tell me that my baby ain't had no shots. When I sat there and watched every one of them. So that's what we're not going to do. He's been in the doctors every year, faithfully, never missed a physical, and had the shots in every series. So 2 years ago, they tried it again. That's not what we're doing. So I got this new doctor, Dr. On. Shout out to Dr. On, the Good Samaritan Hospital. Yo, this doctor is the first doctor my son ever had that broke stuff down, gave my son an asthma plan, and said, I see all your shots, you good, you don't need no more. So now all of a sudden the shots appear again. Right. See, this is the games they play. Yeah. It's all about money. It's about the pharmaceutical industry. We gotta shut them down. They the biggest drug dealers. You worried about me, send me to jail for a bag of weed. And we got a whole oxymoron going on out here in the pharmaceutical business. You got people who sick one medicine, 30-day supply, $2,500.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
And you worried about a dime bag? Like, come on, this is where it's at. When you break this stuff down and you look at the bigger picture, because all of this stuff play a part in everything. Pharmaceutical, these taxes, we're not supposed to be paying taxes for real, man. Come on, man. When we gonna boss up on these clowns? We ain't supposed to be paying taxes.
And there you have it. It's better than CBS News, y'all. Okay, anyway. No, but you brought up a very valid point because the things that will help us are the things that they keep away from us, i.e. marijuana. How long has marijuana been around? It's a plant.
Man, it's going to be around with me. Like you know now.
But the thing of it is that it's documented, it's seen, it's videotaped, that it helps Parkinson's disease, it helps with seizures, it helps with autism, it helps with all these.
You trying to roll up now?
Woo. Look, let me tell you.
It's going to help with this heat.
Let me tell you. Some doctors want to prescribe it just for simple things, Crohn's disease, a couple other things. But unfortunately, you got, these surprises.
Can I put you on to something? Because, a lot of people don't know this. If you go get that medical card, you have no rights to bear arms.
So
they kicked that in 2 years ago. Yeah, so if you go get that medical card, you can't go get a gun.
But see, that's what they're trying to do.
So they taking it, they violating your rights right in front of you. Right in front of you. How you gonna tell me I can't get high to cure this knee pain, but if somebody come in my house, I can't have no legal gun to protect myself? And I ain't got no felonies, I ain't got no criminal record, I ain't got nothing. Not me. But, just a regular person. Like, you don't have none of that. And you telling me, so I go get well, and I can't go and have a gun too? But then you could have all of these people with mental illness and stuff.
But it's like we're saying, it's right now the purpose is to keep us in that thumb screw position. You remain sick, you remain downtrodden, you remain without, then we are your savior. So social control.
Yeah, absolutely. That same thing with once you start to institutionalize the people, now you're taking their right now they can't get weapons, now they can't do these things, but those same things are supposed to be built into, the fabric of our Constitution.
Right.
But again, a lot of times we sleep at the wheel because we're so distracted by the social media, the phones, all these other things that we're lazy about doing the research.
We're lazy about everything.
About reading and getting real information that's important to your lives and how you live your life. Like you said, a lot of times our constitutional rights are being stomped on, but these politicians play these games.
That's why we have to upseat these clowns. Yeah. I was going to run for office, city council 2 years ago. My mother taught me out of it. I'm like, okay, I'm glad she did because I know more now. But then I'm mad she did it. But I'm going back at this in 2 years. We have to unseat these career politicians. Amen. They rep in Baltimore City, but they living in PG County. You don't know a damn thing that goes on in these streets because you're not on them.
Right.
I had a cousin, best friend, and a homeboy that got killed in the same district I'm going to run in. You think Mary Pat Clark did anything? Them cases are cold to this day. Patricia Jessamy was the one who tried my cousin's murderers. They got off on under her watch twice. A murder 10 years prior and under her for my cousin. They don't care. They out here, they running amok on themselves. They just doing what they want to do. They don't know absolutely nothing that's going on.
It's a complacent and a comfort thing too, because if you look at the recent elections, I got mad when I saw that Marilyn Mosby.
Yeah, listen, Marilyn Mosby in office is not a good look, bitch.
Yeah, it's not.
I don't care if she's black. I don't care if she's a black woman. None of that matters if you ain't right.
Right.
She is not right.
Right. Baltimore went with what they knew as opposed to going with someone who's going to make.
And that's the damn problem. That's the problem. They comfortable. And when when you're not comfortable, when you're directly affected.
Right.
See, that's the problem. We need more people to to act like they've been directly affected. Because truthfully, you're directly affected.
Right.
If the homie next door got killed, that's an effect. You are affected. If you're raising a black man and they only killing kids and girls now. So you are affected. I don't understand for the life of me why black people can't get their damn life right. I can't understand. When I sit here and I beef with a black man and he tell me he represents Trump, I swear I'm ready to catch another case. I'm ready to indict my hand 6, 7, 8 more times because I'm over it. Like, how can you sit here and honestly say, oh, because he's saving you $1,000, he giving you $1,000 a year more on your check? B, I can show you what to do with that in an hour.
Thank you.
Like, I don't understand what people are thinking because they're comfortable. So you sitting in your nice little lounge chair and it's leather up with that good Italian leather, and your kids go to private school and everything's all good, and your wife, you think she's doing good, and your wife the wife think the husband not cheating, and he doing this and he doing that, and everything's just good in your world.
Right.
So you're not affected. You don't know what these other so that means you don't care what the next thing is happening. When I got people, my son, he on the cover of the second issue. He said on his brand, and when I tell you the hate against him, you know he doing what he's supposed to do because the devil busy on his If you go to his social media and you see all the hate, and it's all from us, black people. When he talk about we failed the youth, I tell my mom all the time, your generation failed, and then it's just a trickle down effect.
Absolutely.
My grandmother generation let it go. Your generation started to fail, and now we don't care. And then the generation after me just don't give a fuck. So when you have that, and then you look at the little kid that got killed in New York, we failed our babies, man.
Right. We talked about that.
So you got people saying, I didn't fail him. His parents failed him. I don't care where I'm at. If I'm at the market, at the light on the corner, and I see a kid acting crazy, I'm checking him.
Come on now, how you gonna say the parents failed? Because we just watched Stranger Fruits on Netflix, the story of Michael Brown, and they basically broke that whole case down. That whole entire system should be in jail. If you look at everything that had to go on with that, had me just cocking my head like this, like what? Right? You got to be kidding me. And then I think the thing that got me about that was when you had these two lawyers giving their own version of commentary on a surveillance or a in-store video, okay, which was as far from the truth as it ever got, but the public bought it. And I would be remiss if I did not sit here and say, if y'all don't wake up and ask them people to reopen the Michael Brown case, all y'all just need to just give up your gun, your badge, and the whole 9 yards, and just go someplace
People
else.
sleep, just like I said yesterday.
Because the man even convicted himself when he was doing his own interview, and that's the thing I don't get.
Now they already they press charges. They charged this clown cop in Pittsburgh who killed Antoine Rose.
Right.
But the judge let him out without a bail. Mm-hmm. So the mayor of Pittsburgh wrote the judge like, "Yo, you need to be sitting there. How are we going to charge him and then let him go?"
Yeah. It happens.
Definition of white privilege.
Right. It happens right here.
And people don't see nothing wrong with this.
It happens right here. They can walk in there with 7 straight convictions for murder and the commissioner let him walk out the door on a bond. And it's like, hello.
Listen, you know I'm a bail agent. I've been doing this thing for 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let me tell you something. ICE is messing with the bread. Donald Trump and them, I'm ready to go to the cabin. I done lost about 20-something bails last month alone because of ICE. People who've been living here all their life, they call it a traffic ticket. Yo, they deporting these people just for catching a charge.
Yep.
A traffic ticket, yo? I'm going to get yo out on a $3,000 bail for a traffic ticket, and ICE is holding him. A traffic ticket?
Crazy.
And all the ones I've lost, none of them are non-violent.
But you gotta go back and you gotta look. If you look back, just 5 years, forget 10 or 15, just go back 5 years. Was any of this even really a concern? It was happening, but was it as much of a hot?
Donald Trump went on one of those rallies and he said, lock them up. He said, you know how you be nice to them and you hold their head and make sure they comfortably get in the car? He said, don't be nice.
Right.
Throw them in there. Like, this is the leader of the freak world.
Yeah.
Inciting this madness. And then you talk about Aunt Maxine?
Yeah.
Yo, you put your hands on Aunt Maxine, yo. We going to war, B. I'm telling you. Y'all want to see me? See, y'all don't know the 10 before now. Put your hands on Aunt Maxine and watch it go down. I'm going down there.
To California,
What?
thank you.
When I tell you the revolution will be televised,
Yes, smoke.
listen.
Yeah.
Put your hands on Aunt Maxine if you want to.
I really think that number 45, because and Facebook land, YouTube land, WMSK, you can disagree or agree with me, I don't care. But this is a man who has not overcome a schoolyard mentality. What grown man goes around calling people names when you don't get what you want? Wacky Jack,
Child.
low IQ Maxine. What was the other? I mean, he even done called Jeff Sessions a name, and he done called some of his own cabinet members a name. Who does that? That is not above the age of 20. Okay.
And you know, he only go at the black people. I'm still waiting on his Eminem response from a year ago.
No, please.
When you gonna go at Eminem? Because he destroyed you.
That ain't never gonna happen.
Bill Maher destroys him. Jim Curry eats him alive. What's the other? Jack Nicholson, not Jack Nicholson. What's the other? Oh my God, that big time actor.
Robert De Niro?
Oh God, he assassinates him.
But
he never goes at them though.
John Oliver will walk up one side and down the other of number 45 in a minute. If you ever watched last week with John Oliver, he will read the riot act on this man. He read the riot act the week before so bad that China cut his program off in China because he was talking about China. Oh, yeah, but see, he gives you the point that you need to hear, and that's the point that we're all not looking at. That's that between the lines thing that you were talking about.
That's that underlying racism that's been bubbling up in this country is the reason why Donald Trump is in office right now.
Listen.
He appealed to those groups of people that feel the way he feels. And he's been empowered and emboldened by that. And
Did y'all see the video? The DC cops that got released?
No, I missed that.
These pigs. So they decided to do a jump out on some dudes. But before they do the jump out, they want to take the white man. He went undercover in the hood. Bunch of dudes sitting outside minding their damn business, ain't bothering nobody. Doing what we do. We outside, we laughing, we joking, we tripping.
Like they always do.
Like they always do. The white man went undercover with a BB gun and just set himself in their crowd. So the cops jumped out on him, checked him, and got the BB gun so it could give them a legal right to search everybody else. But guess who led the pack? The black cop. Get up, do this, do that. Y'all would have spit in his eye, yo. And they did, right? They was like, we're not giving you nothing. Don't touch us. We ain't touch you. I'm not giving you no ID. We don't know that man. He just came up on us. So it leaked. It went viral. It went all out in the news. Yo, it was a whole big situation in D.C. last week. It went down. I put it on the magazine page twice.
I'm about to go see the magazine page.
And the black cop is leading the pack. See, he all for master. Them dummies said, you go out there and jump on him, and this dummy did it.
Because they're not going to touch you.
And there ain't no such thing as good cops in my eyes, because if you sitting back allowing that shit to go down, now it wasn't another incident, I think it was in New York, that this cop, I told, he was a bodybuilder, he could have been a bodybuilder, that's how big this dude was. Like, muscled down, he literally had this dude on his neck, and on his back, everything go on the magazine page. And the white lady cop came over and tried to get him off of the guy. But it's no good cop in my eye if you sitting there and you allowing this shit to happen. Yo, it's no more of a brotherhood, yo, when you just watching this go down. A dude got tasered. She asked him to sit on the curb. He did it.
He did exactly
She
what he
asked
was
him to cross his legs and then asked him to pull it out. He was doing it, got confused, like, which one you want me to do? Go in or out? He ain't get no feedback. He ain't had nothing in his hand. What they did, taser, right in the back. From the back. Everything happens from the back. Like, what the fuck y'all think this is? Excuse my language. You know what I mean? Like, it burns me up because they know who to do this shit to. If it's me, I don't know what these parents doing or these kids that's being gunned down by these men, because let it be mine. And I promise you, that whole family of the cop, they out of here, yo. You want to lock me up? I've been in jail. I'm good. I'm an OG on these blocks. But you, my friend, is going to feel the same pain that I had to feel if you take my son out of here for no reason, yo. I'm just like, I don't know what these parents doing. I sit back, I'm like, yo, it should be a whole situation going on right now. You're not about to shoot my son in cold blood and think it's okay.
Right.
My whole gangster will unravel to the 15th power, yo. I'm telling you, I will lose my mind.
And that's the power y'all don't want to see. Mr. Christensen has a question. And I'm going to read this one. I don't know if I remember, but I'm going to read this one. He says, I'm sorry, but this is right. Our ignorance. Let me ask you, where did racism start in world history in relation to Black Africans or Black people in general? Can anyone here even answer it?
Man, we was born with this. Listen, when they came over here and took this land, it was on the poppy. Mm-hmm. It kills me to hear them tell African American or Muslim or somebody to get the out of our country. Can you pack your bags when I pack mine? Like, who are you to tell me to leave, yo? This ain't with your land. You took that. And guess what? If you put it on a black man's back to come take it. You put it on our back to come over here and rob the Native Americans in this land. So who are you to tell me where to go? I'm telling you, they be picking the right ones. Because I will slaughter one of these cats, yo. I'm telling you.
I told y'all I was going to be hot up in here. Now, Mr. Christensen said, I want everybody's blood pressure to stay where it's at. You fail to understand the police and city corporations are there to protect the government. Now, Mr. Christian, I'm gonna go two ways with you on that one because of what's going on. Okay, not you, the people. They are there to create these issues to secure that of their own need to fix the very issues they themselves are creating. See, right there is the ignorance of idiocy. And he's stating that you have no idea of the truth. Now, Mr. Christensen, I'm gonna go the opposite way with you, okay? Because you yourself are a white man trying to explain to a black person.
Oh my God, you should have never said that.
And to try to tell somebody else where and how and what and who and
what is Cat? Where he at?
Just look right.
No. Like Maryland.
Oh no, Atlanta.
You in Atlanta.
He down in Atlanta.
You in the hood.
The dirty South.
And it kills me when a white man try to tell a black person, black and brown people how they should feel because they got white privilege, whether they want it or not. When they want white privilege or not, you got it. I got so many white friends, and they know it. They know they got white privilege, whether they know it or not. But when you can't recognize that you got this privilege, yo, you are part of the problem. You're not about to tell me that this ain't racism going on in America because your clown ass ain't been affected by it. You got all these school shootings and all them white boys making it out alive, but we got all these kids dying over a traffic stop.
Thank you.
For no fucking, excuse my, y'all.
She trying.
For no reason. You got all these black men, and women, they take taking women too.
Women are.
It used to be a
social
code, women and kids was off limits.
Yeah.
Now they taking women. So when you sitting here, you taking women for no reason, and you treating grandmothers at a traffic stop, and you dragging a grandmother. Let it be Sister Foster.
Oh no, we ain't going.
What? All guns would have been loaded. Yeah. You sitting here doing this, and all for a traffic stop. The lady came to get a seatbelt off, and you snatched her out of her seatbelt, and she's 70 years old. Because she didn't move as fast as you wanted her to move. And you had the nerve to lock her up with criminals. You cannot tell Mr. Christensen with your white ass how to tell black and brown people how to effing feel. You can't do it. Take your shit out of the box and recognize what the hell is going on. Get some statistics. It's only 12.3% of us in America in the first place. 35% of blacks only take up the prison population. You're not about to tell me that the white counterpart is less likely to go to jail for the same crime that the black counterpart is going to jail for.
That's why I love that program, the 13th that was on.
You're not about to tell me that this is okay.
Yeah, it's not.
You're not about to tell me because Antoine Rose was in a car that they did something wrong, that it was okay for him to get shot in the back of his back.
And come on, we can go past him too. We can go to Philando Castile. We can
Stephen
go to Eric Garner.
Clark.
We can go to Stephen Clark. We can go to a whole lot of them because they are not. They did nothing wrong. Eric Garner did nothing wrong.
Jay-Z said it in his line in that Drake song that just came out on Drake album. Y'all left Zimmerman alive, but you killed Extension. How effing deep is that? You out here killing your own, B. And George Zimmerman out this joint chilling.
Yeah.
Catching more charges on top of that. With weapons and abuse. And all kind of stuff. You letting this dude in the same city though. The same city. The white nationalists, these racist bigots is trying to get a permit approved right now in DC to do a white civil rights rally on the national.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Like, are you serious right now? So this is what I need all you gangbangers and thugs to do. Since y'all want to be around here shooting up shit, take your ass to DC on August 11th.
There you go, y'all.
And show the hell out.
Mark your calendars. But no, there's too much. We've talked about news. We've talked about, the immigration, separation of children, youth and violence, things like that. What it all comes down to, if I were to just try to put it in a nutshell, I'm not even going, I'm attempting. But if we look at it, we are not as effective as we should be. Back in I can go back a little further, Miss Tia. Anything like this would have happened growing up with my grandparents or my aunts and uncles? No.
And the bottom line is that thing of valuing all human life.
Right.
Valuing, because once you devalue a group of people, or you devalue people of color and their life as though it doesn't matter, it gives you carte blanche to do whatever. And like you said, that right, white privilege allows you to do whatever you feel like you want to do or need to do. Let's go back to our history the way it used to be when white folks were running the country, had slaves, and could do whatever they wanted. And we can't go back. We cannot go backwards. We have to go forward and learn how to value all human life and have all human life have value so all of us can succeed. Because we as a nation are not going to prosper ever by devaluing our people.
We in 2018, yo. And I put a post on Facebook yesterday. I said, Black and brown people should not be celebrating no goddamn independence. You ain't independent. Only independence I'm recognizing is your independence card. Are you selling any? Are you selling any food stamps today? That's the only independence you should be recognizing. That's it. You should not be out here with this by the time you get my age, it's going to be a whole big change, son. Because people like me and my crew, we going for them seats. I'm running for city council in 2 years. I'm not playing with them. I can relate to the streets. And because I can relate to the streets, because I am a former gangster and I can be a gangster if you bring me back to it. And because I know how these streets are set up, I'm going to every single hood. And we going to register to vote. The voting system failed us yet again. And come to find out, I was a part of that 80,000 that had to do write-in votes because they didn't get my shit right. You talk about zapping out at the polling place last week?
Yeah.
I flipped on Brandon.
Miss Natasha
And I said, I'm sorry. I told my pip. I said, I'm sorry, Brandon. It ain't you. It's the people you working for. You put yourself in this position to face a chick like me.
Right.
Unless it's a close call. So look at all the people that had to write in. Who knows? Ivan Bates. Who knows? Ivan Bates could have won.
Marilyn Mosby. You're looking at someone who hasn't gotten a conviction versus who has won.
She said 92% of her conviction. She got 92% conviction rate, right? It's a lie.
That's a lie.
At least 20% of that, and I'm just estimating a number. 20% of that is plea deals.
Mm-hmm.
Miss,
yeah.
your office is lazy, miss.
That's the game, yeah.
You taking my tax money and you using it wrong.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right.
America spends $296 billion with the prison industry a year.
It's a business now.
Wait till the night when I go on Style and Substance Show. They interviewing me tonight about the magazine. Boy, all kind of stats gonna come out. It's gonna be like a whole shotgun.
I'm telling you what. Ever since the state versus us has started, I have learned so much inside and outside. Where before, if you would have asked me that question, I'd be and I'm just being honest,
And that's
because that's not what would have been on my agenda to learn. So if y'all don't have State versus Us magazine, you missing out. Point blank, you are missing out. It may be just a couple of stories instead of, but you're getting it from the horse's mouth. You're not getting it from somebody who put it through somebody that had to edit it through somebody to go through here. No, you're getting it straight from the horse's mouth, who was involved, who was there, who saw it, who felt it, who breathed it, who lived it. And that's what makes this magazine such as what it is, in my opinion.
You ain't saying nothing though, or you know, but they ain't saying nothing. The second issue is gonna have you either mad, crying, or both.
Or both. Or both. I'm gonna leave it at that because I already know it's the magazine. Anyway,
It's real. It's crazy.
anyway, I just we coming down to the last 5 minutes, and I love it when I have shows like this because everybody just get involved, and I love that. And we still walk out of here, we still all love each other, and we're friends, okay? And we're gonna get Tia some blood pressure medicine so she can.
I took it already.
Okay. Anyway, I want to thank my guests that are in studio. But Lakeisha, do you have any closing remarks for what we did here today?
No, but this was definitely, eye-opening. It was wonderful. And I'm glad that you invited me to be a part of it. Thank you so much.
I would like to invite the rest of the WMSK
I'm sorry,
family
I
to
need
come
all
on in.
pineapples. Thank you.
What? Oh.
My stuff might nothing.
Thank you. Do you have any closing remarks? Do you have any closing remarks, Vic?
Yeah, I just think we need to wake up as a community to the things that are going on. We have to educate ourselves about what's happening in our city with our politics, with our families, with our kids, in our schools, and get involved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And Ms. Connoisseur.
Listen, yo. Stop being lazy.
Mm.
Stop thinking because it ain't been your son, nephew, or best friend that you're not affected. Get familiar with their laws. Get familiar with who your local politicians are. Get out there and vote. No matter how many times they try to play with us with this voting, that's what they want you to do.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep playing with you to get it in your mind that it's not important and they don't care about us anyway. Don't let them Jedi mind trick you into thinking voting don't count. Get State versus Us magazine. That's STATE. V is in Victor, SUS mag, MAG.com. Go to the site, subscribe, get familiar, because I upload stories every day about what's going on. People get released for stuff they didn't do 30, 40 years later. 30, 40 years later, and it's going down. So, like, yo, just get familiar with what's going on around you. Support. Grab a youth up. Mentor a kid. If it's not yours or not. Like, grab a kid. You say one, yo, you did your job. You know what I'm saying? Like, we can stop being people, selfish as a people, and just learn how to respect and love other people outside our house, and stop thinking that your house is a comfort zone, because your house really not. They raided people's houses that not even the address on the paper.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, because I don't have them come.
They raided my door. So don't think your house is safe, yo. Don't think, because, and I don't even live in the hood. I had to get off my couch because them fireworks sounded like gunshots sitting in front of my house. I'm like, yo, these old people got their grandkids out here popping fireworks. That's the problem. People soft now, and they scared of these kids. I'm here to tell you, your kid and I'm not scared of you. I'll beat your kid ass. Flat out. I'm letting you know. Come to me with that, and you're going down. I'm giving you these hands, and yeah, they still work. So at the end of the day, yo, we gotta stop being lazy. We gotta be mindful of what's going on around us. You gotta get out there and vote. These elections is coming up in November. It's not a game. Choose a side and roll with it. Just don't choose the wrong side.
And don't go
That's
with
all I'm
what
saying.
you're comfortable with. Please don't go with what you're comfortable with.
Don't go with the popular name.
Read and research and find out who is representing what it is that you are standing for, what it is that you are believing in, and what it is that you feel will forward us as a community and us as a nation. Because if you just vote for comfort, then the same stuff just keep happening. What did they say about insanity? Insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. It's the same thing with voting. Don't keep voting for the same person just because you've seen them and you grew up with them on the block and you know their mama. That's not what that's all about. If they're not representing you, they don't need to be in that office.
And you touch on Maxine, it's the one that popped. Like, right now.
And we are out of here, ladies and gentlemen. We are out of here. You know what? I want you guys. Thank you guys. This has been I love this. I love this. I want the rest of the WMSK family to get on board. Lady Blue's door is open. Come on in here. Let's have these conversations. Let's talk about these issues. Let's find out what each other is feeling and thinking, and that way we know how to move forward. And if I was to give you any type of inspiration for the day, say hi to your neighbor. Don't just look at them, okay? Know who they are. See who it is you're living next to. You've probably been next to them for 30 years and still don't know who you're living next door to. Say hi, okay? It won't hurt you, all right? But this is Lady Blue, and I am all over social media. Lady Blue 1, LadyBluu1, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr, Google+, BlastFi, all those good places. I am on Facebook. Joy Does Come in the Morning, Lady Blue Talk Radio Group, Lady Blue Radio Show, Lady Blue Positive Inspiration, and 2 websites, LadyBlue1.com and 50 Shades of Blue Balt, that's BALT.com, where you can find out everything about the upcoming Domestic Violence Awareness event. I want to thank my special guests that are in here, Victor Major of Covenant Connection, CEO and owner of WMSK Online Radio, Tia Hamilton, and Miss Lakeisha Davis. Open wide with me. Yay! Okay, anyway. I got it straight. I thank everybody who joined me on Facebook Live. Y'all make my week every time I come up in here. I love you, honey. You make my day. Anyway.
I love you, honey. You make my day.
Yes. But y'all just get out there, live out loud, enjoy this day. I know it's hot. I know it's hot, but enjoy your day, live out loud, and bless somebody today. Get what you can from your blessing and share your blessing. Don't hoard your blessings, because you may be the only Bible that somebody gets today. Okay? Love your neighbor and clean up whatever fireworks y'all had on the street, because I don't want to see all that. That's all over the place. Anyway, I love y'all. And as I always say, weeping may endure for a night, but joy, it does come in the morning. I will talk to y'all next Thursday, but I'll be here tomorrow with my husband on Covenant Connection, so y'all tune in for that one. And peace out. Bye.
Listen, guys, get your copy. State versus Us magazine, guys. It's pretty awesome. Listen, tonight I'm live at 7 o'clock. Style and Substance Radio, Street Legal Radio is going down. I'm spitting stats like a machine gun. I'm spitting them. Hey, I hope, boy, listen. I'm over the sleep. The sleep get on my nerves. Sleep just gets on my nerves. The work is over. But I'm spitting fire tonight. So they interviewing me about the magazine. Issue 2 is out now. Make sure you go on there and check it out, man. I did the website. I updated the website. It's doing good.
All right, those of you on Facebook Live, I want to say something really quick.
Know how to register to vote.
Hello. I cannot get to every question as I just posted. Okay, so I will pose your questions to the guests and let them answer individually. It's very hard to get to every question when we want to give our guests time to answer your questions. So just hold on, and y'all will get your answers. Other than that, y'all enjoy your day. Love you. Peace out. Bye.
My cousin said I sang and ate all these damn pies.
I wanted to get off of Facebook Live because Mr. Christensen, woo, he threw up some things up there, and I was like, because y'all, I know.
Oh, he was coming at me?
Oh, yeah.
That's what I love.
Oh, yeah.
Where he at?
Yeah, but girlfriend, this daytime talk radio, you know that. You had to excuse your mouth several times.
So I'm going to go on the video.
Yes, please.
I'm a keyboard assassinator.
Well, go back and watch this one, and Mr. Christensen, he loves it.
See, and that's what they do. You know what I'm saying? They like to provoke you and come for you. You know what I'm saying?
We were talking about that because she was watching a video with, what was Dude? The topic, Dude was talking about black people and getting their stuff together, and he came on and took Dude completely off his game by throwing some garbage in there. And that's why I told him, I said, he'd have to, I would encourage him to stay focused on what